Vikings, let's win this game.
The Minnesota Vikings may call it a quarterback competition, but the way first-team reps are being distributed tells a very different story. 4 rookies are also earning their place, giving Minnesota hope that a single draft class could transform the roster. A revamped running game could unlock another level from the best receiver in football. But the greatest pressure is now falling directly on someone you would never expect. What has been presented publicly as a legitimate quarterback competition may already have a clear leader behind the scenes. Minnesota signed Kyler Murray after J. McCarthy struggled through his first meaningful NFL action, and the early distribution of training camp repetitions suggests that experience is winning. McCarthy entered the league as the 10th overall pick in 2024, but a meniscus injury erased his entire rookie season. The Vikings then handed him the offense in 2025, only for additional injuries and inconsistent production to define the year. McCarthy completed 140 of 243 passes for 1,632 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Murray also arrives with something to prove after losing ground to Jacoby Brissett in Arizona, while dealing with what the Cardinals described as a lingering foot injury. Unlike McCarthy, however, Murray possesses a longer record of productive NFL play, making him the more proven option for a roster that believes it can compete in the NFC North immediately. The Vikings have technically divided practice snaps between the quarterbacks, but ESPN's Kevin Seifert reported that the split has not been equal where it matters most. Through the first 7 practices, Murray received approximately 2/3 of Minnesota's first-team snaps during one-on-one periods. McCarthy, meanwhile, spent a significant portion of his summer operating with the second-team offense. That distinction offers a much clearer picture than the overall number of repetitions. Kevin O'Connell has not officially announced a starter, and maintaining the appearance of an open competition could help protect McCarthy's confidence. The organization still has a substantial investment in him and may continue viewing him as a potential quarterback of the future. But Minnesota cannot allow that investment to dictate the Week 1 decision if Murray demonstrates greater command of the offense. O'Connell has no reason to rush publicly, especially with preseason games still capable of changing the conversation. Internally, though, the first-team workload strongly indicates which direction the coaching staff is leaning. Unless McCarthy produces a dramatic response, or Murray struggles badly, the veteran appears positioned to lead the Vikings against Green Bay. If that happens, the conversation will immediately shift from who should start now to what Minnesota's long-term plan for McCarthy has become. Minnesota's newest rookie class is beginning to look like a potential turning point after several disappointing drafts. Interim General Manager Rob Brzezinski oversaw the process, and 4 selections have already generated legitimate excitement during training camp. Cornerback Charles "Chuck" Demings has become one of the biggest stories in Eagan. Coming from an FCS program, Demings was not expected to frustrate Justin Jefferson repeatedly during his opening week of NFL practices. Yet his deflections, confidence, and aggressive mentality have made him impossible to ignore. Instead of trying merely to survive his matchups, the rookie actively seeks opportunities against Jefferson, challenges receivers emotionally, and wants quarterbacks to test him. Defensive end Caleb Banks has created optimism for a different reason. Repeated foot injuries produced questions about when he would be ready to participate, but the first-round pick has been both available and disruptive. Banks has already rotated into the first-team defense, allowing his strength, explosiveness, and unusual first step to become visible. Will Ragatz highlighted one rep in which Banks accelerated past Will Fries and destroyed a running play before it could develop. His long-term durability still must be proven, but his early participation alone represents meaningful progress. Linebacker Jake Golday may be the most versatile defender in the group. Selected 51st overall, he initially drew comparisons to Andrew Van Ginkel before beginning his work with the middle linebackers under Blake Cashman. Brian Flores has since moved Golday throughout the formation, using him on the edge and inside, with both defensive units. He has deflected passes that became interceptions, met running backs at the line, and displayed genuine pass-rushing ability. Fullback Max Bredesen completes the group. The 5th-round pick faces the difficult assignment of succeeding the retired C.J. Ham, who has already started mentoring him. Bredesen has embraced contact, using his strength to create running lanes and giving Minnesota a physical presence in the backfield. His role could become especially important as Frank Smith installs a revised rushing system. These players are not competing for ceremonial developmental spots. Demings is challenging established receivers. Banks is earning first-team work. Golday is creating multiple solutions for Flores, and Bredesen is positioning himself for a direct role in the offense. Training camp excitement does not guarantee regular season production, but Minnesota desperately needed young talent capable of contributing quickly. Early evidence suggests Brzezinski's draft may have delivered exactly that. Subscribe to the channel. It's free and goes a long way toward helping this Vikings community grow. A greater commitment to running the football could do much more than improve Minnesota's rushing totals. It could create additional space for the player every opposing defense is already determined to stop. Alec Lewis of The Athletic believes the Vikings' revised ground attack may help elevate Justin Jefferson by forcing defenses to divide their attention. Lewis compared Jefferson's effect on opponents to the gravity Anthony Edwards creates for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Defenses naturally build their plans around limiting exceptional players, but a dangerous second threat can force them to redirect resources elsewhere. That is where Frank Smith and the running game enter the equation. Minnesota already established a productive foundation last season, averaging 4.5 yards per carry and scoring 15 rushing touchdowns. That touchdown total matched the combined number produced during the 2023 and 2024 seasons. The Vikings also finished 6th in total rushing production and 5th in explosive run rate, demonstrating an ability to create gains of more than 10 yards. Jordan Mason led the group with 758 rushing yards. J.J. McCarthy contributed another dimension, with 37 attempts for 179 yards, averaging 4.9 yards per carry. Aaron Jones finished with 548 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, while Xavier Scott added 114 yards on 32 attempts in a crowded backfield. Those results were encouraging, but Minnesota believes the system can become even more effective. Smith's influence, the arrival of physical rookie fullback Max Bredesen, and a renewed emphasis on offensive balance could prevent defenses from devoting as much attention to Jefferson. If linebackers and safeties must respect the run, play-action opportunities become more convincing, and passing windows can grow. None of this means Jefferson needs to be rescued. He continued producing at an elite level despite instability around the offense and has remained one of the NFL's most dependable playmakers since entering the league. The purpose is to make defending him even more complicated. Kevin O'Connell understands that repeatedly forcing the ball toward a double-covered receiver is not a sustainable offensive identity. A threatening rushing attack can punish defenses for concentrating too heavily on Jefferson and eventually force them to make an uncomfortable choice. They can maintain extra coverage and allow Minnesota to run, or commit additional defenders to the box and expose the secondary. If the Vikings achieve that balance, their new rushing philosophy could unlock opportunities for Jefferson without changing what makes him special. Finally, patience surrounding Kevin O'Connell may be approaching its most important test. Vikings president and co-owner Mark Wilf emphasized that championships remain the ultimate standard for the organization. Wilf expressed confidence in the direction of the franchise, but also acknowledged that ownership's patience is not infinite. Those comments do not amount to an announcement that O'Connell will be fired if Minnesota falls short this season. They do, however, reinforce the belief that regular season competence can no longer be the final measure of success. The Vikings have not appeared in a Super Bowl since the 1976 season and have never captured the Lombardi Trophy. Ownership has invested heavily in creating a championship-level environment, from US Bank Stadium and the TCO Performance Center to aggressive spending in free agency. General manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah was dismissed after Minnesota finished 9-8 last season, but O'Connell emerged from the offseason with even more organizational influence. He worked alongside interim GM Rob Brzezinski during free agency and the draft, participated in the process of selecting a permanent replacement, and now operates within a new leadership structure involving Nolan Teasley. That influence makes the results more closely connected to O'Connell's vision. The coach deserves credit for producing a 43-25 regular season record, winning a division title, and establishing a healthier culture than the one that existed near the end of Mike Zimmer's tenure. But he has also failed to win a playoff game through his first 4 seasons. Minnesota lost at home to Daniel Jones and the New York Giants in 2022 after finishing 13-4. 2 years later, the Los Angeles Rams dominated the Vikings in another opening round elimination. Injuries and unstable quarterback play contributed to Minnesota missing the postseason in the other 2 seasons. But the lack of January success remains impossible to dismiss. The argument is not that O'Connell should be removed immediately. His coaching ability and regular season record have earned him an opportunity to lead this roster forward. The question is whether ownership will apply the same championship standard to him that it applied elsewhere. O'Connell helped shape the quarterback room, the draft, and the front office structure. With that authority comes responsibility. If Minnesota falls short again, Wilf must decide whether patience is still producing progress or merely delaying a difficult decision. Taken together, these developments reveal a Vikings organization approaching a defining season. Kyler Murray appears to hold the real advantage in a quarterback competition that may be closer to decided than publicly admitted. 4 rookies are providing genuine hope for the future, while a stronger running game could make Justin Jefferson even more dangerous. Above everything, Kevin O'Connell now has the influence and roster support to prove that his regular season success can finally translate into January victories. Which development gives you the most confidence or the most concern? Leave your opinion below, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us for the next Vikings update. Stay tuned. Skol Vikings, let's go!